Hello everyone, wishing you all a lovely and fruitful morning. Let us learn some farming practices. In 8th class, you might have studied the crop production and management. In that particular chapter, we have studied the various steps that has to be taken for the farming practices. So we can improve few of the farming practices that actually increases the yield of the crop. So we can learn here, we can have some of the farming techniques or farming practices. So let's move ahead. So farming practices can be divided into 3 stages. What are the 3 stages here? The crop variety improvement, the crop production improvement and the crop protection management. So what do you understand by crop variety improvement? So here we have to improve the variety of crops. Crop variety improvement, here we have to improve the variety of crops. For example, if we have the plant that is not able to tolerate high temperature, what we will do to improve the quality of that plant, that particular plant? So we do hybridization, we do genetic engineering. So thus we will increase the capacity of the plant to tolerate the temperature. So to improve the crop yield, we do that. So that is called variety improvement. And the second point is that crop production improvement. So what do we do here in the crop production improvement? So with the help of the fertilizers, with the help of the manures, we will be increasing the production level. So we can increase the production level by adding some fertilizers, by adding some manures, and or maybe in 2 months we will get a better seed. Okay, so that is what we mean by the crop production management. And the third one is crop protection management. So what do we do here for the crop protection management? Now we know that like we, the human beings, the plants also are open to the MOs. That means microorganisms. So microorganisms may attack the plants, the insects may attack the plants. So we have to protect them from the these enemies like insects, like microorganisms. All these from these things we have to protect the plant. So that if we are doing the crop variety improvement and the crop production management, we have to do the crop protection management also. So let us see each one in details. So now let us see the crop variety improvement. So what is the aim? The aim is to find a crop variety that gives good yield. So aim is to find a crop variety that gives good yield. Why we want high yield for this? For the increasing population we need high yield. If we increase the yield so that it can reach the mass population, isn't it? So in that procedure, varieties or strains of crops can be selected. In that procedure, varieties of strains or crops can be selected. We cannot just go ahead randomly picking something. So from here picking something, from here. No, we have to work really hard over it. And we have to see the important characteristics we have to work upon. So we will be selecting the certain characteristic features that which is improving the crop variety. So sometimes we will be introducing hybridization, sometimes we will be introducing genetic engineering and so on. And the next point here is that disease resistance. For that, varieties of strains of crops can be selected by breeding for various characteristics such as, so what are the characteristics that which we are picking? As I have told you, randomly we cannot pick up. So the first one is disease resistance. So we will be looking for a plant which is resistant towards the diseases. As I have told you, that plants will be open to the MOs, microorganisms, or to the insects. So we will be looking for a plant that which is resisting towards the disease. In simple words, that means plant should be very strong and that should be disease resistant. So diseases should not affect this plant. That type of varieties we have to select. So that's what we will be looking in the crop variety improvement. And the next point is that response to the fertilizers. response to the fertilizers. What do we understand by this? We know that we have fertilizers, we have manures. So manures are actually good for the high yield and all. So we do put manures and fertilizers. So some plants will be taking it in a positive way and it grows. Some will be thinking that I don't want to grow all these fertilizers and they will remain as such. So plants will be growing, those plants that which is growing, they will be receiving the fertilizers that which is taking it in a positive way. And the next point is that product quality. So what is the product quality? So we may think that this rice is okay, this is okay. So we should have the quality one. The product should be of quality one. So we want a crop which is being high quality that which is having high nutrition. So that type of product quality we must have, that which is having high nutrition. And the last not but the least, it is high yields. So it can give a huge amount of production because we have a huge population. High yield because it can give a huge amount of production because we have a huge population. So these are the 4 things that we will be considering if we are planning to have a crop variety improvement. So disease resistance, response to the fertilizers, product quality and the high yield rice. Next, moving towards the next. Now let us talk about some of the techniques that which we are using for the crop improvement. So let us talk about the various techniques that which we are using for the crop improvement. So here we can see the first method is hybridization. So what we do in the hybridization, we are crossing between genetically dissimilar plants. So hybrid means mix up. So one plant we will be taking of a disease resistant one we will be taking of that which is absorbed by the fertilizer. So we will mix both of these and we will be getting a combination of this and a good variety of this. So that's what we do it in the hybridization technique. So 3 different categories are used in the hybridization technique. What are they? Intervarietal, interspecific and intergeneric. So in intervarietal, between different varieties, that means rice and wheat, 2 different varieties we are using here. In interspecific, what we are doing here, so 2 different species, like we know that plenty of mangoes are there and we will be combining the 2 varieties of species of the mangoes and thus we will be producing a new combination. Then intergeneric, between different genera, so completely different from each other, we can say that, just going outside the box. And we will be doing the crossing over and there will be a new combination. So hope the hybridization technique, these 3 categories you might have understood: intervarietal, interspecific and intergeneric. So in intervarietal, 2 different varieties are used, so rice and wheat we are mixing together. Then interspecific, 2 different species, that means varieties of mangoes, from that 2 different species are being combined. Then intergeneric, just going outside the box and we will be doing the crossing over. So thus intergeneric, between the 2 generas, 2 different generas. So that's what this means, hybridization technique. And next we have here the genetically modified crops. So you must have heard about the GMOs, that is genetically modified organisms, or you might have heard about GMF, that is genetically modified food or crops we can say it as. Okay, so genes here basically will be altered in this one. Genetically modified food and genetically modified organisms. So genes will be altered in the DNA sequence. So that will be giving a great variety, and the genes are being altered in the DNA sequence, that will be giving a variety. So that is nothing, that is genetically modified crops. So moving towards the next. So next is about the factors for which variety improvement is done. Factors for which the variety improvement is done. So we should focus on this. Why should we do hybridization? We will be working on these characteristic features that crop variety can be improved. Why? How? So first point is higher yield. So to get higher yield, we do hybridization technique or genetic engineering technique to improve the quality of the crop. And the next is of improved quality. So that which is having the high nutrition, as we have learned earlier one. And next point is of biotic and abiotic resistance. Okay, biotic and abiotic resistance. So living things, biotics means living things, abiotic means non-living things. We know that insects are the living things. So air, water, all these non-living things. It can cause harm. It can cause damage to our crops. So we basically look for the resistance towards it. So we must actually fight for it. So that's what the biotic and abiotic resistance. Now change in the maturity duration. So what do you understand by that? Change in the maturity duration. So we need a high product in lesser time. So here we need a product, but we should have it in a lesser time. So we can actually change the crop production within the duration of this. So the next point is wider adaptability. Wider adaptability. So crop should be adaptable because of the various amount of the temperature, the humidity, the rainfall. Because of that, so sometimes some crops will not be adapted. So if the crop is being adapted to the various climates or various conditions, so it becomes really easy for the farmers to grow the various crops in the various geographical area. So it must have a wider adaptability. The last but not the least point is the desirable agronomic characteristics. Okay, desirable agronomic characteristics. So what should be done to increase the height of the plant? So how we can use it? What are the economic characters? What is the quality purposes? So etc will be coming under this purposes. So we must think how the economic will be, what is the height of the plant, all this we will be desiring here. So the factors that for the improvement of the variety of the crop variety improvement is higher yield, improved quality, biotic and abiotic resistance, change in the maturity duration, then wider adaptability, then the desirable agronomic characters. So hope you might have understood the factors for which the improvement has to be done. So next is of I hope that you might have understood all these. So we have learned here the farming practices. What are the farming practices? How we get the crop variety, how we get a good quality crop, and how we can protect the crop. All these things we have learned in detail. So happy farming for all of you. Happy learning. Thank you.